All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. An SEC basketball reaction Thursday, coming off of what I labeled Max Barr as the craziest night of SEC basketball I've seen in a decade. I don't think I've seen another slate like that.
I didn't go to bed until about 2 a.m. Eastern last night. I'm not lying. I was bouncing off the wall after all the action. This is going to be a great home stretch, folks. Hop on in as we do this nice Thursday morning reaction. Everyone, grab your cup of Joe. I've got my Gators today. Yeah, it's picking up. I saw I wish I had it in front of me. I saw a stat. It was something like one of the first times that there's been like 3 freshmen road 40-point performances within a few game span with Acuff, Kingston Flemings, and then there was another one I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but we're in for an absolute treat here of a home stretch of college basketball. I'm loving this, how this season's shaping up.
All right, so if you missed it, we did a reaction for the first 3 games on Wednesday night. The Alabama-Arkansas thriller. We talked about Tennessee's win against Oklahoma, and we also discussed the Texas A&M Ole Miss game, which also came down to the wire, by the way. Little did we know we were going to have 2 just absolutely absurd games left to go on the slate, and that's because it was Missouri holding off Vanderbilt, and you also had Mississippi State holding off Auburn. So we're going to get to those, discuss them a bit. I've got some updated Player of the Year thoughts in the SEC.
Ooh.
I've also got some updated tiebreakers, which I hate worse than anything. But we're going to get to those. But let's quickly talk about the 2 games from last night we've not discussed yet, and then we'll get to all the fun of that in just a bit. All right. Missouri. Had to have it. They got it. 81-80. Win over Vanderbilt. Max, I am pretty sure, minus, I guess, the Texas game and the South Carolina game. Like, it's just like anytime Missouri plays a game these days, I'm just thinking, how is this going to get weird? Like, how is this thing just going to get absolutely nuts? And, you know, whether it was kind of the way things unfolded at A&M, you had the Oklahoma game, of course, like the Georgia game, like all these weird games they played. Kentucky, Florida, just chaos aplenty. Tyler Tanner, let's just quickly, because they didn't hit the shot, but let's just say he hits that shot. Like, we're talking an all-time college basketball slate for any conference in the history of America. It was close, but still, if that shot would have went in, I think I don't even know what I would have thought of that. We would have done a show immediately after. I'll tell you that. But Missouri won, and that's all they care about. When you start looking at tournament resumes, and the Tigers have now won 4 of 5, and that one would put them in the tournament as of this second.
Did you see the still shot of the ball being halfway down? Crazy. And Dennis Gates's post game, he was so funny. His reaction to the shot, and even Mark Mitchell's dad was like, "I need to teach you how to throw a ball, man." What was that pass there at the end?
That's like, we're gonna look up this quote. Tyler, I'm gonna find it after you give your thoughts. But yeah.
Oh yeah. He was like, well, it'll be funny when you read it off because there's some language in it. But he had Trent Pierce to his right, Jayden Stone to his left for the entire post-game press conference. Usually you just have a few questions for the players, and then it's all coach questions. But it was interesting to hear the different perspectives from Stone and Pierce. And they gave a little bit of insight, too, on Trent Burns, the 7'5" freshman that hasn't been able to play too much. He ended up playing 17 minutes, had 7 defensive rebounds. Mark Byington said they tried to take advantage of him when he was out there and couldn't really manage to do so. He played some good minutes, and Jayden Stone is actually he's going like, I think coach is too hard on Trent Burns at times. I stick up for Trent Burns. And then Dennis Gates is getting a laugh out of it. And he said that at practice this week, actually, it was Jacob Cruz said Dennis Gates was getting on Trent Burns a little bit. And Jacob Cruz is like, hey, coach, let him be. He's got it. Don't, stop worrying about Trent. He's got it. And the players have rallied behind Trent Burns. And you get a feeling, Blake, that this team is real connected right now.
So here's what Dennis Gates had to say. When asked what he was thinking on Vanderbilt's last shot there, the one that almost went in to win the game for the Commodores, here was the quotes. Well, first, I said, oh shit, because Mark threw the ball short. You don't want to use all your timeouts, but that's not the pass we want. His dad even said something. He said, son, I got to teach you how to throw. So I think that was the reaction of many Missouri fans and anyone else watching that game whenever we saw that sequence start to play out. So, yeah, I mean, it's a significant win for Missouri any way you slice it. But like we said, I mean, they're up 21 with 8 minutes to go. Vanderbilt makes a furious rally. Shocker that Vanderbilt would do that since we just saw them do that against Oklahoma a couple weeks ago. But things started to click a bit. Tyler Tanner finished with 27. But, I said it like even, I know Missouri fans were not happy with Devin McLaughlin. He had, a couple flagrants in this game, but he started the game well,
unusual.
But didn't really. Yeah, it's unusual, but started the game well, but then only finished with 13. Nickel had 11, hit that 1-3 down the stretch there. But I think this is one where, like we said, I think for Missouri, because of what their non-conference strength of schedule is, they've just got to win games at this point, and that's why the Texas loss felt so deflating. Not just that they lost, but how they lost. So this will give them a bit of a bump. The net rankings haven't updated this morning, but I would assume they were at 66, I think, as we talked yesterday. I don't think they still haven't been updated for today. So that should bump them up a little bit. I don't know if it's going to move them up 10 spots or anything, but it's a big one knowing you got to go to Arkansas on Saturday. And we've said kind of with Missouri's remaining schedule, home games against Tennessee and Arkansas, big opportunities there, but you also have those, oh boy, we really probably shouldn't lose these type games at Mississippi State and at Oklahoma, which, again, both of those teams with the way they're playing overall right now, I know Oklahoma got shellacked at Tennessee, but still, those two teams at home, we're going to talk about Mississippi State in a second, there's not an easy game left on Missouri's schedule, so I know it was frustrating to watch in that final 8 minutes, but a win is a win, and that was one that Missouri had to have. I think you're going to take that any way you can get it. So,
yeah, entering that game, Missouri was the last team in the field on Bracket Matrix, the very last team in the field. On Torvik entering that game, I believe the Mizzou percent chance to get in that large was right under 50%. It was like high 40s. And right now, Torvik has updated this morning, 55.2% chance to get in that large bid for Missouri. So now you're just ever so slightly on that right side of the bubble. But still the margin for error is pretty slim. One interesting thing was Vanderbilt went 8 for 22 on layups in this game. 8 for 22 on layups. They make one more bunny and they win the game probably. That goes to show how the Missouri size is around the rim. There's a tall team, there's a really big team that gave Vanderbilt some fits around the rim. But Byington said they also thinks he credited the size too much, like maybe a little bit too many floaters or mid-range push shots when you just take them, go get the contact and try to finish through the size there. So you got to credit Missouri's bigs there. I thought, again, Tyler Tanner with a 38-minute, 27.5 assist, 2 turnover, 3 steal game. We didn't really mention it as much as we did in the Texas A&M preview as we did with Vanderbilt, but just those Missouri guards built to take advantage of a Duke Miles and Frankie Collins-less Vanderbilt team. T.O. Barrett, tough as nails. Ant Robinson, tough as nails. Jayden Stone out there finally healthy. All of them just throwing everything they got, and it's just Tyler Tanner there as in resistance in the backcourt there for Vanderbilt. You get the feeling that with a few of these Vanderbilt losses, Blake, I mean, 4 points to Florida at home, 1 point to Oklahoma at home, 1 point to Missouri at home. If you just add in a Duke Miles, the results are probably a little bit different.
I'm sorry. That's why I'm laughing a little bit, because I know the chat was on one here a minute ago about how Vanderbilt has just they've fallen off, and we all predicted the downfall of the Commodores. They're 21-5. They've lost their last 2 games. In 1 month, they've lost 2 games by a combined 2 points. I don't necessarily think that qualifies as a team that has fallen off by any means. They're still going to be in position to be a top 5 seed in the tournament. Not having 2 key players will be factored in by the committee. They're going to get Duke Miles back sooner rather than later. Still don't know about Frankie Collins, but I mean, I think anyone would be okay having a 21-5, 8-5 resume right now and top 15 in the net. I think you'd be okay with that. So I don't want to overplay the angle of Vanderbilt goes and loses by 1 here and all of a sudden their season's over. I just think that's absurd. So I think they're going to be fine. And we kind of mentioned the thing about their remaining schedule. Back-to-back home games here against Tennessee, Georgia, 3 road games at Kentucky, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. So you'd love to have Duke Miles back for the Tennessee game specifically, but I don't know if that'll be the case for both of them. We'll find out here tomorrow, I guess. But
just look at the Saturdays. The Saturday for both these teams, huge.
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah, 2 big games. So Missouri gives himself a little bit more room for error, although I think it's thin, just based on their non-conference strength of schedule. But Vanderbilt, I think, still is going to be okay. They just got to – again, it's not going to be an easy stretch down the rest of the way. That's why I think they need Duke Miles in a few of these games.
One interesting thing I do want to end on here with Dennis Gates in Missouri is he mentioned that after the Texas game, that was a big one. Circled on the schedule, needed to win that one. Not absolute need, but it was big. The whole staff, Dennis Gates said, wanted to practice right away. And Dennis Gates said, nope, we're taking 2 days off. We're only going to do a 1-day prep for Vanderbilt. I'd rather have my guys fresh than still bumped up and bruised from bronchitis and Swain and Texas. He also said something like Texas scored like 26 points in the last 4 seconds of the shot clock in that game. He was like, we just needed to stay even-keeled and get our guys freshened up, and they came out firing. I thought that was a nice little, hey, you got to do what you got to do in mid to late February here to get your guys ready, and a little bit of an unusual Saturday to Wednesday practice schedule for Dennis Gates in Missouri pays off.
All right, both teams are 8-5. We will get into the tiebreakers here in just a minute after we talk about this next game. The tiebreaker is clear between these 2 teams. You're both now 5-8. That's because Mississippi State holds the tiebreaker over Auburn because they beat them last night, 91-85. Josh Hubbard drops 46 points, 35 at the half, as we noted in our reaction stream last night. He went 10 of 16 from 3. He heard you talking about the 3-point leaders in the SEC and said, you know what, I'll just go drop 10, see if I can get myself into the conversation. So, I mean, not only that, guy goes for 46 points in 39 minutes. He had 9 rebounds, 3 assists, did not have a single turnover. You'll take that stat line. Auburn made a furious rally in this one. Keyshawn Hall finished with 29, Pettiford with 21, Overton had 15. I mean, Auburn goes 12 of 26 from 3, got to the free throw line 31 times, but only went 12 of 36 from 2. That is a not so great showing there, 33%, 17 offensive rebounds. I mean, this was one of the wildest games of the season, and it came on the wildest night of the season in SEC basketball where it was filled with wild games. So if you didn't get a chance to watch this one, I'm not telling Auburn fans to go back and watch it because I would not suggest that. But, it's like Mississippi State led by almost 20, I think, at one point in the second half. Then Auburn makes the rally and just goes off to lead by 7 with like 3.5, 4 minutes to go. And then here comes Mississippi State and Josh Hubbard, and what a roller coaster of a game this was.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Hubbard was, what was he, 9 of 12 from 3 at halftime? He only made 1 3. He was only 1 of 4 from 3 in
That's
the
okay.
second half.
Early, you know.
He now is number 1 in the SEC in three-pointers made in league play. Gillespie had gotten up to 39, and then with 10 made threes there, Josh Hubbard has got the lead with 40 made threes. How do you like them apples, Max?
Oh, God.
Oh, happy face.
Happy Face is here with a $2 super chat. Always comes in, says Auburn's not going to lose again, and now here's Happy Face, which may not be so happy. Says, well, Auburn is not winning another game. Now that tune has changed a bit here for Happy Face. So,
yeah, it's been a slide here for the Tigers, no doubt about it. Torvik now has their. What do you think Torvik has Auburn's chance to earn an at-large at right now?
it should still be comfortably above 50%.
It's at 60%.
Yeah, which is going to surprise people. But I don't know how else we're supposed to say it. Like, this is not an unusual team when it comes to their resume. Like, you're going to look at this and say 14 and 12. Are you kidding me? But guys, we've seen teams like this in recent years in the SEC that have a ridiculous strength of schedule that wind up losing 14 games or something, and they still get in the tournament. Some teams comfortably have gotten in, like as a 9 or 10 seed. So it just depends. Like, I'm not saying they're going to make it just yet, but their percentage as of this second should still be north of 50% because they still, as of this moment, have a resume of a team that's probably sliding from a 9 to a 10, but they're not in Dayton. So,
yeah, before the game, Bracket Matrix had Auburn as the top 9 seed. So maybe just a little bit less confident of a 9 now, but I'd probably think still on the 9 line. But yeah, still fairly comfortable. But Steven Pearl did come out and say, he said, hey, this one on Saturday could be the difference between making the tournament and not making the tournament, because when you look at the rest of the Auburn schedule, it's Oklahoma, Ole Miss, LSU, and then at Alabama. So those Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and LSU games, sure, if you win all of them by 20, it'll do good. But if you just go in there and win close games, it's not going to move the needle too much if you do lose this Kentucky game on Saturday. So really only like 2 big time, unless you win by like 20, only really 2 big opportunities to change your resume in the regular season left, with the home game against Kentucky on Saturday, and then the last game of the regular season at Alabama. So Stephen, I mean, he does have a little bit of a point there. It's down to crunch time here. The margin for error has evaporated, and we've been playing games back and forth with our Auburn fans all year about, is the defense fixable? Is the defense back? Is it not fixable? And right now, it's probably as bad as it's been all year. Over the last, since January 1st, actually. So this is just the full SEC play. Auburn's defensive efficiency is 125th. That's third to last in the SEC. Wasn't happy with a lot of the Keyshawn Murphy missed ball screen assignments, trying to flash out on Hubbard and whatnot. So yeah, it's down to the wire here.
Here's the thing. Auburn has 12 losses. They have 1 loss to a non-NCAA tournament team right now, and that was the one they just had last night. So, yeah, and look, I agree. Like, William, you're absolutely right. They have a tough schedule, and you have to win games. Like, eventually you got to win. And we're now reached the territory where it's like, all right, strength of schedule's kept you in this thing, but you got to win. So, but even after last night, they're still going to be right there because they hold the best win of any team in the SEC, which is still doing some work for them. They won at Florida. That's the best win on anybody's conference resume. Tennessee probably, I guess, still has the best win overall by beating Houston. But in conference play, Auburn has the best win. So that's carrying some weight for them, and the overall strength of schedule is carrying some weight for them. So, I mean, yeah, like they're going to have to win some of these games down the stretch. They can't lose out by any means, but I think, if you take care of your business, if you beat Oklahoma on the road, you win 2 of your 3 home games, you're to me, you're comfortably in the field. I think they'll be a team that gets in, because even if they were to get to that 15 losses mark, they're still going to have the number one strength of schedule, and they may be the team that did another team get in at 15? I think Vanderbilt and Alabama have been two teams that have gotten in at 14. I could be wrong about that. The numbers all run together, but yeah, so the strength of schedule is going to carry them pretty far here, but yes, they have to win games here down the stretch.
Yeah, and just like resume-wise, to try to put it into perspective of why they're, not dropping as a 12-loss team, these are their losses by more than 10 points, like losses where it's been ugly. Michigan, Arizona, Purdue, Arkansas.
Yeah. So, I mean,
that, like, you're not getting dinged in the analytics for getting beat up by Michigan, Arizona, Purdue, and Arkansas when all of them were away from home.
Yeah.
So some teams in SEC play have like a 30-point road loss or a 25-point road loss, and it's just like, sheesh, if you take that thing out of the equation, this team their resume is way better. Auburn really doesn't have that like nasty one that's to a bad team that's dragging their analytics way down, and that's why even at 14 and 12, they're still top 35 in the analytics. So
David asks, how would you put a 14 or 15 loss Auburn over a 9 or 10 loss Missouri or Georgia? Well, I mean, that's where too, like, Missouri has 8 losses. If Missouri finishes with 9 losses, they're gonna be ahead of Auburn, right? Because they'd go 4-1 down. Well, actually, they'd win out and then lose a game in the SEC tournament. So in that case, like, Missouri's safely into the field.
Right.
But if we're comparing the two, we've said the biggest difference is simply, Auburn, number one schedule in the country, Missouri, 344 in non-conference strength of schedule. So, like, that's about as big of a gap as you can find. So that is enough to make up a couple games here or there, like, between the two. So that would be the difference very easily. And like I said, this is not a new thing, guys. Like, if we go back, Vanderbilt at 14, whatever. Like I said, Alabama, I think, got 14. Yeah, like, if you get to 15, I have to look up the stat, Max. Like, we go through so many numbers, but I'm vaguely remembering. I know teams have gotten in at 14. I don't know if there's been a 15. But if you set the new precedent that a 15-loss team were to get in and they have the toughest strength of schedule, then there's your out. So, but it really just depends on your combination of wins and losses. So, yeah, we'll see.
We will see.
Yeah. All right. Let's continue on here. I'll tell you about our sponsors. I'll get your super chats in a second, Josh, because they're going to tie into our tiebreakers. So, what do you got, Max, before you have something?
No, I thought we were going to sponsors.
Oh, I thought you were just so excited about something else, but you were so excited to hear us talk about And Collar, A-N-D, collar.com. Unbelievable. They are over there. Remember, the performance menswear brand. Quarter zips, polos, pants, button-ups, suits. They got it all. And remember, they invented the Workleisure. You're going to get an incredible price over there. SEC16 for 16% off. Over at And Collar, they got the stain resistance, the comfort, the wrinkle resistance. They're machine washable. They're lightweight. The price is fantastic because you're getting SEC16 for 16% off. Over there at And Collar. Go buy all the merch right now, and then you're ready for March, sitting around in your suit with a quarter zip over it, maybe some pants, all kinds of great stuff. SEC16, 16% off over at andcollar.com, A-N-D, collar.com. ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com. The world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. Getting closer to that SEC 11 teams in the tournament, rock lock perhaps. SEC 25, 25% off all their phone cases, accessories, golf accessories, anything you buy over there, you're getting 25% off. And head over to our friends at Icon Wallets. Premium Napa leather. They've got the 3 interchangeable university icons. They are officially licensed collegiate wallets. Find yours. Use our code SEC16 for 20% off over at Icon Wallets. You are correct, Alan. It is pretty much, according to FanDuel, a rock lock that Florida has clinched the SEC because as of right now, Florida over at FanDuel, minus 2,000 to win the SEC. Arkansas plus 1,200. Alabama plus 5,000. If I'm making one bet right now, I would probably do the long shot bet of Alabama because, as we're going to get to in a second, if you go through the tiebreakers, there's a reason Alabama would be the choice for me right now. But here we go. Josh, $5 super chat. It says 8 teams within a game of each other in the conference. Insane. Says he fully expects Vanderbilt to play their best against us like Kentucky does every year. So, well, that's called a rivalry. You're going to get your best from the opponent. So
let's remember this when next offseason, when we do preseason rankings, and we know that with only 2 weeks left of the season, there's going to be most likely 8 teams tied. That if your team is ranked one spot not where you want it to be, it's not the end of the world. Because it's like every year with this league, we get to this point and half the league is tied. It just goes to show how meaningless the preseason rankings are when we do them, and you get all the reactions of we're fourth, we're not fifth. Difference is probably a layup.
All right. Josh also has a $5 super chat to say, what if the play-in the NCAA tournament, just 4 SEC teams? Just give us Auburn, Missouri, Texas, and Georgia. Just give us a 4-team SEC Dayton play into the tournament.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no one's going to be very excited, I think, about that possibility. But I said you could certainly have 2 teams there, potentially. But we'll see what the committee values. So, when do they do the top 16? Are we getting close to that? When's the first top 16 reveal? Got to be close, right?
We got to be coming up there.
It's got to be soon, isn't it?
Also,
it's on Saturday.
Hang on a second.
Okay. It's Saturday.
You guys,
we got to react
I feel
to
like
that.
John Fanta right here. Do you remember the John Fanta clip from earlier in the year when he's in the spaces and he's like, we're terrible. St. John's is terrible. Our team's terrible. And John Fanta goes, you're an idiot. Get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
You're not terrible. That's how Arkansas country boy. You're just calling everyone trash left and right. If Arkansas Final Four, we're trash. Or if we don't go to the Final Four, you're trash. Everyone's trash. Guys, this is a great league. The game last night was like one of the best college basketball games I've seen in years. Oh, their defense is trash. They're trash. They're just get out of here with that. You're not trash. Give me a break. You're top 20 in every analytic. You're going to be a top 5 seed in the tournament. You're not trash. Get out of here with trash. Sorry. Let's keep it positive. I'm sick of it. Jeez.
All right, so here's a nice little segue. Before I get to the tiebreakers, and I'm going to try to do this live. I'm going to try to fill out a bracket live with the seeds. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot here. Max didn't even know I was going to do this. But can I just tell you some stats I've got here on Darius Acuff? I tweeted him out this morning. Okay?
What do you got?
Darius Acuff. In 13 SEC games, 479 minutes played, 36.8 minutes per game, 335 points, 25.8 points per game, 82 assists, 6 point, I think it's 2 or 3 assists per game, 27 turnovers, 2 turnovers per game, and he's also had 2 games where he didn't turn over a single time. I say all that to tell you, Max, that if I was filling out a vote today for SEC Player of the Year, I would give it to Darius Acuff.
I don't know how you can't right now.
But see, my point is to say, some people say, well, that's just an overreaction to a 49-point performance. Yes, it's a reaction to a 49-point performance. But when I looked at those numbers and really compared them to his opponents in this race, he is the choice right now. Like, he is your SEC Freshman of the Year, and he is your SEC Player of the Year right now.
And the eye test, too. Like, don't make it about his, stats or anything. If you've watched the majority of SEC basketball, you've watched, maybe you watch your team every time, and then you've caught the other teams a few times. There is no denying how elite Darius Acuff is. The combination of his mid-range, his shooting, and then the way that he can have the ball in his hands every single play and just never turn it over. I think that's the most impressive part of his whole game, Blake. How high his usage rate is and how low his turnover rate is with how many possessions Arkansas plays, the amount of transition flying up and down the court that they do. I don't know how he keeps his turnovers so low with how much he plays, how much the ball is in his hands. It's incredible.
Yeah. It is. Some of his updated KenPom player rank or player comparisons here.
There's one really good one in there.
Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, Brandon Knight, like Tyler Ennis, Trey Burke, Nico Mannion, Mike Miles from TCU a couple years ago, Dennis Smith, Kyra Lewis. I don't remember if I mentioned him. Just absurd.
I feel like Acuff is a combo of Trey Burke and Mike Miles. It's like he's got the pace and physicality in transition of Mike Miles. The brute strength of Mike Miles, but then he's 40% from three like Trey Burke. It's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, this he's on another level, and I think that's why we talked yesterday. If it was a close race, which absolutely SEC Player of the Year race is still close, but I think that's where, to me, putting it in the context of looking at all those numbers, I mean, I just think his numbers are better than anyone's. And when you consider that his team is tied for second right now, I just think it is enough to, as of right this second, to push him ahead. Now, if he has some bad games down the stretch and we're talking about how close this race is, then maybe that pushes him back a little bit. But I hope, if we are doing this, as a vote, right? And by the way, Josh, we're not talking about NBA comps. Who cares about NBA comps? We're just talking about, this is college. Like, we're not, it doesn't really matter about we're talking about guys and how they performed in college. Like, we're not projecting ahead. I mean, Damian Lillard's not had a bad career, but De'Aaron Fox either. But I mean, that's what we're meaning more so than anything. Like, it's just a simple college player comp. But like, I just think Acuff, with that performance, it's going to push him ahead in the race. And I hope it's not one where you're just, well, we're going to give him the Freshman of the Year and that's good enough, and we're just not going to consider him for playing. Don't do that. Like, if a guy's good enough, he should be the Player of the Year and the Freshman of the Year, if that's how good he is, which right now, like I said, with those numbers I just gave you, a guy who's basically averaging 26 a game, playing 37 minutes a game, 6 assists, and only 2 turnovers, and has the ball in his hand 95% of the game. I don't think there's anyone out there that right now is jumping ahead of that. Not even my guy Tommy H. Or Labaron Philon, who, by the way, didn't have a bad game last night at 35. So, yeah.
A lot of chatter about the defense on both these teams from last night. And I did go back and I rewatched the ESPN put out like a 20-minute highlight, basically like a mini game. I loved it. Probably gonna watch it again today. Went back and rewatched it last night again, and I'm like torn between, like, is this just two of the top 5 offenses in the nation with 2 of the best guards that can create their own shot in the nation, or are these defenses absolutely brutal, or maybe slightly a little bit of both? I couldn't really pin it down, but when you think about the teams finding success in a neutral floor and getting to a Sweet 16, just winning 2 games, just Sweet 16, just winning 2 games. After that, it becomes all matchup based. Do you get the 1 seed, or do you get the 8-9 that upset them? Do you get the 2 seed, or do you get the 7-10 that upset? Past that, it's tough. But like, I thought last night I came on, I was so excited, Blake. I was like, that was Elite Eight Final Four level game. Maybe entertainment level wise, but the defense probably wasn't there to be like, that was Final Four level play on both offense and defense. I thought that was like one of the best Sweet 16 games you see all year. You know, like the old UCLA, Kentucky, you know, Johnny Juzang versus Malik Monk type of games where it's like there's something missing from the teams. There's flaws, but man, it's as good as it gets. It's like I don't know how I'm going to leave either of these teams out of my Sweet 16, no matter what their path is, just given how you going to stop these guards on a neutral floor.
Yeah, I'm with you. It makes sense. So, I mean, and I'll say this just to quickly react to the question here. Industrial asked here, what if Chenyalu and the Gators D shuts down Acuff? That's the thing. Is like this guy could have a subpar game and still be in the lead, because who hasn't of this group had just like a game where it's like average or below average, right? Like Chenyalu has had one of those. Tommy H has had one of those. I mean, Philon's probably had one of those. I don't remember many from Philon though. Yeah, so like all the people that are in this race has probably had a game like that. So even if that happened, I still think
Philon didn't do anything to remove himself from the player.
No, he's still top 3. Easily.
Yeah, still right there.
Yeah, I just think that again, if you're looking at it overall, and that's where, you know, some people will be like, well, whose team finishes the highest, that should be the player that gets the award. I don't necessarily agree with that. 5 people are on the floor. If it was a one-on-one game, then yeah, but like you're playing on a 5-man team, so every team's different. I wouldn't just buy the fact that whoever finishes the highest should get it. I think it's an individual performance award. So, yeah. All right.
Yep.
You want to talk about some SEC tiebreakers?
I can't believe you actually dug into these.
Oh, yeah, I shouldn't have. But
how's the brain feel right now?
It's the thing is, like, these are some that just get, when you get to like the 5-way tie, it is just, when you're trying to figure out how you separate these teams, and you're talking about having to separate them by having their record against 3 other teams who are tied. Like, again, it's just such an absolute mess. But here's what I got. All right. I wish I could pull up the bracket, but I don't. I want to just like be able to do this on the air and like fill in the bracket. Let me see if I can do this. Entertain the chat for a second. I'm see if I can get this working.
Oh my gosh, are you gonna do a live tiebreaker bracket?
Yeah, I think so.
Out here, first ever.
I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna try to.
I will say one thing, because Brett brings up a point and says defense alone doesn't get you to Final Fours, and takes a little shot at Tennessee. But I teased you guys. I said I'm, doing my deep Ken Pom, March Madness guide. And yesterday I did like 3 or 4 hours of research on the past 4 years and past 5 years. I started with doing 5-year trends because that's post-COVID. But then I was like, you know what? It's only been 4 years of the NIL era, and to do some NIL era trends as well, as I'll build on those in future years. But one trend that I am noticing, I'm not going to give you guys any of the good stuff just yet, but one trend is having an elite offense over the last about 4 or 5 years has become much more important than having an elite defense when it comes to translating to postseason success. And I think that's kind of, you can see that with how the game is changing, how the pace is quickening, the defensive rules with the block charge calls being changed, and everything kind of given the tip of the cap to the offense there for some more point. And so you can see that, but there are some pretty strong trends favoring offense in postseason than defense.
Okay, this isn't going to work. So let's just continue on here. All right, so here's what I'll do. I will load this up because I've got this kind of the way it works. So, yeah, just give me 1 second because I wish this was easier, folks, but there's only so much we can do with the technical stuff sometimes.
It's what you get. You get a little audible on the fly. Right. Oh.
Okay. So Florida's the number 1 seed, in case you didn't know that. So you've got the 3 teams right now that are all jumbled together, right? Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama. And they're all at 9-4, correct? So it's a 3-way tie. What is the record between the 3 is where we start with the ties. Well, as you can see here, Tennessee has beaten beaten Alabama, lost to Arkansas. Arkansas has beaten Tennessee, lost to Alabama. Alabama's lost to Tennessee, beaten Arkansas. So what do you know, Max? It couldn't just be simple. Nope. We got to go to another tiebreaker. So the problem is you can't break this tie until you break the 5-way tie currently at 8-5. So it's like, of course this couldn't be easy, right? So to break the 3-way tie, you got to break the 5-way tie.
Yes.
Like, absurd. Absurd.
Yep. Classic.
Of course. So to do that, we've got to now go to the same thing for these 5 teams. All right? So here we go. I know there's a lot of stuff on the screen, but I had to shorthand this, and I was not, typing all this up long form here. All right. Here, let's start at the top. The team that's going to get exactly Big Gator EJ, then it's your record versus the 5th place team. That's why we have to break this 5-man tie here. Who has the best record of this group? It is Missouri, who has beaten Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and Texas A&M and lost to Texas. Missouri 3-1 in this 5-man tie here. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt's 2-2, Texas is 2-2, Kentucky and A&M are 1-2 apiece. So there's your order. Missouri, then we've got to break a tie between Vanderbilt and Texas. Then we got to break a tie between Kentucky and A&M, which, oh, by the way, they've not played each other yet, so that gets more difficult now.
Yep.
So Missouri's the 5. So let's go back to this part. Now, what is your record against Missouri, these 3 teams? Only one of these teams has played Missouri, and that is Alabama. Alabama beat Missouri. Tennessee and Arkansas have not. Therefore, Alabama, according to my math, which the only class I failed 2 classes in the history of my school. I failed math and I failed art. But that means that Alabama would be the 2 seed right now because they have beaten Missouri. Arkansas could do that on Saturday, but they haven't yet. Then, how do we split the Arkansas-Tennessee tie? Well, we all know how that works. Therefore, Alabama would be the 2, Arkansas would be the 3, Tennessee would be the 4, according to my math at this moment.
I think you're right. Yep. I don't think there's any.
What is this question? Nicholas, how do you fail art? You don't try. All right? The key to life is trying. Put in the effort. I didn't try.
All That's right. A line. Here's a shadow. This is
blue.
No.
No. Listen. This is all about calligraphy. Can you remember when they made us do calligraphy? For what? Who's doing that these days? No one. I said, I'm not doing that nonsense. So, there you go.
I was actually in advanced drawing and painting. That was one of my best classes.
Yeah, well, there you go. Actually, Sean could be right here, to be honest with you. He has Tennessee at 3, Arkansas at 4, because I'm going to assume that would be because Tennessee has beaten the 2 in Alabama since we had got to that part of the equation. Could be the case, but I thought it went to head-to-head after that. This is why I said. The only thing I feel good about is Alabama at 2 and Missouri at 5. That's the only thing of this entire equation I have any confidence in at this very second. So, which is why Josh is like, why are we doing these? They're meaningless. It's exactly why we don't do these ever. So anytime I put the standings out on Twitter, I always say tiebreakers not included. I am not doing tiebreakers. So, yeah. Tell you who else is not doing tiebreakers. All right. Let's continue on here. I'll take that into consideration. All right. You guys are just all on my failing art here. So
get him.
Is what it is.
All right. What else we got?
What else you got?
Now we're saying the same things.
Well, what else you got?
I'm slightly distracted for 1 second. I'm trying to set up. We got baseball coming up in 15 minutes, folks. If you guys want to get your baseball fix in.
Well, we also have our predictions coming up.
We do.
So we're going to go do our predictions live for the people. We're only going to do the 3 featured games, which are going to be, if I didn't have 43 tabs open, I could tell you right away who that's going to be.
Arkansas, Missouri.
That's 1.
Auburn, Kentucky, maybe?
That's 2. There's 1 more.
Vanderbilt, Tennessee. The Jalen Carey game.
There you have it. So there are our 3 featured games. We're going to do those live because we started a little behind today. So we will probably do the others at some point. But I can't say there will be a ton of interest maybe in the other games just based on the way they set up. So that's going to be our formula here. So, yeah. All right. You guys are the best. We appreciate you. And, yeah, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to become a member. If you want to become a member, jump into the chat right now with our predictions live. You can do that, and I'll share the link for it.
Trying to think. What do we got this Saturday as for a kind of a... The schedule does kind of set up nice with games spaced out. It could be a 3-stream day here on Saturday at Southeastern 16. I don't want to put anything out there just yet. Well, I just did, but it's spread out pretty nice. You got Florida on the road and Tennessee on the road in the early games. Then in the middle of the day, Mizzou, Arkansas, Texas, Georgia. Texas can't lose that game. Well, they probably could afford to lose one game, and then the night slate. Alabama on the road, Texas A&M on the road, Kentucky on the road. Nice little spread out day there. Full day of hoops.
All right. There you go. Jump on in, be an MVP or legend. We're heading over to record our predictions. Baseball will be coming up in just a bit. Yeah, we appreciate you guys as always. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.